Okay, I think we should get started. Thank you everyone again for coming to our online workshop. And today we have Carol and Adam from the United States. And I think they're online already. And okay, let's just say hello to Carol. Hello. Hello, Adam. Okay, so today we have basically three parts. Firstly, I will invite them, both of them, to introduce themselves, and they have something to share about their high school, their application, and hopefully there will be valuable information for all of our participants today, parents and students, right? And okay, after that, we'll have a short conversation with them. I have a few questions for them. I hope they're ready for that. And after that, it's time for your questions. So audience, parents, students, no matter where you are, from Canada, from US, from China. So if you have any questions, you can post it to our chat window and we'll organize it and we'll get our guest speakers to answer your questions. Okay, so that's basically the agenda for today. And just for the sake of the better quality, because we now have like 33 people online, so we've muted everyone. And if you do have a question, you can always reach out to our online support. You can message us, or you can just type your questions or your problem in the chat window. We'll do our best to help you, okay? So we'll get started. And so today, actually, we have a theme for today. It's actually the freshmen in college, the freshmen from the university. So we have Carol and Adam. And well, actually, they're going to introduce themselves anyway. So I'm not going to take too much of your time. And just again, this event is organized by Upswing Academy. We provide online learnings and programs for students actually all across Canada. Okay, so let's get started. So what about, shall I give the floor to Carol, who was actually admitted to MIT? Wow, that's one of the top university in the world. Okay, so we'll start with Carol and then will be Adam, okay? So Carol, it's yours. Would you mind share your screen and we can get started?
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
So I went to American Heritage School, which is a private high school in South Florida. There were around 380 people, students in my grade, and my smallest class had like 6 people and my largest had 20 something. And I got a scholarship to go there instead of the public school that was in my area. So I decided to go there because it had smaller class size and more extracurriculars that I was interested in, like orchestra and a better math program. And I will be attending MIT in the fall. So these are the courses that I took throughout high school. And my school kind of requires you to take certain classes before taking the AP versions of them. And we all have to take the core classes like English, science, math, and social studies, and then we could choose electives. Oh, and we also had to take 2 years of foreign language, so I did that freshman and sophomore year. And for my electives, I chose a bunch of STEM courses because that's what I'm interested in, like comp sci and extra math classes and physics. And yeah. So my main extracurriculars were math and music. And for math, in school, I participated in the AMC and the AMY, which is like a national math competition that colleges like know. And to take the AMY, you have to do well on the AMC, so it's like an invitational exam. And then I also did Mu Alpha Theta with my school, so we competed as a team. And it was a club, so we had to take classes after school and on Saturdays. And then, so the order of math classes was Algebra 2, Pre-Calc, Stats, and Calc, mostly for the math competition. And that was like 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And then when I was in 11th and 12th grade, I was a teaching assistant for Algebra 2 in 11th grade and then Stats in 12th grade. And then outside of school, we had a Florida Student Association of Mathematics. That was like a student-run organization that takes the top students across Florida to competitions at universities like Princeton, Carnegie Mellon, and Harvard and MIT. So I competed in those competitions. And then this year, I was the person who organized the tryouts in my region. I also competed at Math Prize for Girls, which was related to AMC Amy. If you did well enough on those, then you could go to Math Prize for Girls, which was a math competition held at MIT. And then over the summer, I went to Awesome Math a few times to learn more math and improve, I guess. And I also did music. I've been playing the piano and violin since I was 5 and 6. So I joined the Florida Youth Orchestra sometime in elementary school. And this year I was the associate concertmaster, which is like the top 2 violinists. And I also competed with piano and violin, and I won multiple awards in those categories for the past 12 years. And then for community service, I performed for the patients in the lobby at a local clinic. And then they had a program that like intertwined medicine and like art and music. So I received the award for that in 8th and 11th grade. And these are a few awards and honors from high school. And the picture in the top left was like an accumulation of most of my awards from elementary school until now.
Okay, thank you, Carol, for sharing. I'm sure after seeing all those awards and trophies, oh my God, that's like, wow, how could you do that? Okay, so I'm sure our audience will have questions for you. So if you have any questions, you can put into the chat window. Okay, so now let's move on to Adam. Adam, it's your turn.
Yeah. You guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Adam Kui. I just graduated high school and I finished with, I was a national merit finalist with a 1550 on the SAT and 1470 on the PSAT. I was an AP Scholar with distinction and I've accumulated over 500 hours in community service. I was, can I myself?
Yeah, sure, you can, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just gonna like list my achievements first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm concertmaster in American Heritage Orchestra and qualified for All-State Orchestra 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And I've competed in the Florida Federation Festival and the Florida Association for Math Data, which is FAMAT, which is also what Carol competed in. And I worked with a professional music therapist to soothe the ears of the senior citizens at the Miami Jewish Hospital. Do you know where's the
yeah, present, just click on present. Yep.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk about my freshman year in particular, and I'm going to start with freshman year. Freshman year for me was probably the most important now looking back and overlooked year of high school. For me, this was the year to start developing good habits, and trying out something new if you aren't already pursuing a passion. I suggest you try out as many clubs as you want and think about which clubs did you genuinely like or are interested in. Even if your friends aren't in it, if you like doing it, then that's what's most important. And if things don't work out, you can just start over again. When you're meeting new people, just remember that they're just as scared as talking to you as you are to them. Okay, sophomore year, I'd say is the easiest year of high school. It's the time to relax a little. I would use this year to finish off any requirements to graduate high school, like volunteering to meet your service hour requirement if that's necessary. And also volunteering can let you help the community and meet more people and give you stories, which is going to be important later on for when you need to write your essays and supplementals for college. What I would do is I would just think about what kind of stories I had, some stuff maybe I wrote down in notes, and I would go from there. That's like my creative idea process. And for me, that was playing violin at the Miami Jewish Hospital with the music therapist, and listening to the countless stories that the senior citizens had to offer, or just playing basketball with my friends and competing as hard as I can. For me, that was what was most precious about high school, the opportunities. For junior year, this is the year you need to get teacher recommendation letters for your college applications. And what that means is you need to behave, you need to ask as many questions as possible, and finish your assignments on time. Especially this year. I mean, you should do it every year, but you should especially do it this year because your teacher needs something nice to write about in your recommendation letter. This year is usually where most students take the most APs, the advancement placement classes. And the way to keep up for me was to attend the extra help sessions and like talk to as many tutors as possible if I was struggling. And the teachers are usually holding extra help sessions, so that really helped. You can just ask what's on the test. For SATs and PSATs, our school, American Heritage, offered Ray Doss, and that was really helpful because it forced me to take a lot of practice tests and grade them myself. And the teachers there could help me with any questions I had. So just forcing yourself to take tests like that familiarizes yourself with the format, time management, and test taking strategies like process of elimination and other stuff like that. Senior year, first semester, most stressful part of high school for sure. Second semester is most relaxing, so it's like a good balance, right? For my advice for college applications is write your essay the summer before, so you don't have to worry about it. Ask your guidance counselor and or college advisor to proofread your essay or supplementals. Find out which schools you're applying, early decision, early application, regular decision, make a list. With your guidance counselor or another counselor that you hire. If you're stressed, remember you can split up your task into a bunch of smaller tasks and finish those smaller tasks one by one. And follow/create your own schedule. Hang it on your refrigerator or something for submitting like supplementals, for submitting applications, because there's different deadlines for early decision, early application, obviously. Other materials like even something as simple as like vaccinations or like health forms. You don't want to procrastinate that. You want to make sure you submit it on time. And for me, the biggest problem in high school was procrastination. And the way I dealt with that was trying to create better habits. And I can get more into that if you guys ask me, but I think I'm done for now.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Okay, so we just got to know Carol and Adam in a short, like 5 minutes presentation. So I'm sure you have questions, but just hold on there and let me start with some of my questions on the list. Okay, yeah, thank you for that. Okay, let's start with my first question. So this is a little bit more like sci-fi scientific movie type. So what if, let's say, there's a time machine, so you can just drop in time and you can go back to your high school years. Well, could be freshman or senior or junior, whatever year you can think of. So you get a chance to get on that time machine, and it happens that you can actually talk to yourself at that time. So don't worry, there's no kind of like in the movie. So if you meet a certain thing, certain disaster will happen. So it's okay. So you can basically talk to yourself. And what would you say to yourself? So that would be my first question. So Carol or Adam, who want to start first?
I can start first. If I could travel back in time and talk to my 10th grade self, I would tell me to think about developing better habits earlier on, and having a stronger mentality to stick to a schedule and finish a task step by step, like what I said.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that actually Adam mentioned a few times about building good habits, schedules, and yeah, so that's something that I feel that you're a strong believer in that. Yeah, the learning habits, and then you setting your time, and you have a goal, and you get a plan, and you stay with it. Yeah, that's something critical for success, no matter in study or in your career, right? That's critical. Yeah, thank you. And then what about Carol? Do you have anything to say to yourself?
I tell myself to stop stressing out about everything, but I'd also tell myself to keep like trying your best in everything, and it'll like work out in the end.
Okay. So, okay, what do you mean by tell yourself not to stress of many things? You like kind of like over stress during the high school years?
Yeah, I just try to like get like the highest grades and stuff as I could, but I did eventually end up getting good grades, but I don't think I had to stress out that much about it.
Okay. Yeah, I can imagine like someone, I mean, maybe for both Adam and Carol. So both of you like have been a top student in many ways, right? In many ways.
I was a salutatorian at our school, so.
Yeah. So is it kind of a very stressful thing, because you're always like, okay, I'm like one of the top, and then so I have to keep up with it. So you constantly worry about somebody is coming after you. So do you have that kind of stress all of the time in high school?
No, I don't think it was like stressful because
Okay.
like we were at the top or something. I think it was just mostly because we wanted our grades to be good enough for like the colleges that we wanted to go to or something.
Okay. But I mean, I would say if you look at your history, it's like, okay, I'm pretty good. 9th grade, 10th grade, you're pretty good with all the awards, and then you have very good chance to get to whatever school you have in mind. So you still have the stress all over the time like that?
Yeah, because you can't guarantee it, so it's like still stressful.
Okay.
Junior year is definitely the most important for that kind of stuff, even if you're doing well 9th or 10th.
Junior year is the most critical. Okay. Yeah. Also, I see this as something that both of you share in common. Actually, both of you mentioned try different things, try more things. And actually that also echo with some of our guests from the last few weeks who actually said exactly the same word. So I wish talk to myself and tell me to don't worry too much of something, but tell myself to try more things, try different kinds of things, not just academic studies, but maybe even try more outdoor stuff. So you have that in common. So can you, both of you, elaborate a little bit about what do you mean by try more things? What are the things you think you should be trying? Be a little bit more specific.
I would say anything that goes outside of your comfort zone, whatever you're familiar with, just try to do something else other than that. For me, I took a creative writing summer camp in the summer of 10th grade going into 11th. And I really enjoyed that because I also took an elective in comedy. So it's like in general, like stand up and like improv writing and stuff like that. And not only does that like help you introduce yourself to like other people, but it also makes you realize like how much of a person, what kind of person you are. So if you're like really uncomfortable with that, at least you know and you know next time that, oh, I'm not going to do comedy. I'm not like a comedian or anything, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, just somehow, I mean, maybe you guys have a lot of things in common. Yeah. Like a week ago, I believe one of the guys also was talking about trying new things. And I think one of the reasons to try new things is also know something you like, or even know something that you don't like what you just mentioned. So you know, well, this is definitely something not for me. At least I tried. I know this is not for me, so I wouldn't waste my time in the future. Still figure it out.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, Carol, do you have anything to share with us at this point? Yeah.
I agree with what Adam said, but I think I found out what I like pretty early on. Like I really liked math since like a pretty young age, and also music. So I just stuck with those two since they both took like a decent amount of time.
Mm.
And that's
Good. So
like,
you.
yeah,
Go ahead.
that's like totally fine if you already like found your passion. Like you don't need to explore some more. You should just focus on your passion in that case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. It's good. Okay, just also just talk about Adam. You mentioned about a creative writing. So, I mean, I know many people well worry about writing. I mean, writing is critical, right? Yeah, in high school, university, especially for those who actually at this moment still in China and who are thinking about coming to Canada or US for high school or then university. Actually, language in general is the biggest challenge for most of them. And then out of all, listening, speaking, and writing is the most difficult part and takes a long time to develop. So for your case, why you choose creative writing rather than what those like essay writing and those kind of academic writing?
Well, I wanted to get better at writing in general. So
Mm-hmm.
I took creative writing because I thought it would help just expand my writing skills. But it showed me what a different world the different types of writing can be, like essay writing or creative writing. Creative
Mm-hmm.
writing, it's very free form. It's very put yourself out there, and so that taught me to like open myself up more and really think about what I'm writing instead of just like answering a question. You know, it's like
Mm-hmm.
more expansive than that.
Yeah. Sometimes I think creative writing can be healing as well. So basically, you can let your mind go flowing and then putting your thoughts together. I remember one of our writing teacher also have an exercise every day. Basically, it's like 10 minutes. So you can just start writing and you cannot stop for that 10 minutes. You can just get your thoughts flow. Yeah, I think that's pretty helpful. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Wow. We have a lot of things to talk about. Okay. My next question is, well, Carol told us that you, from young, you already know that your passion is in math. So you know that this will be your high school, this will be your university, probably will be your postgraduate study, well, in the area of math, right? So that's something you have in mind. And then what about Adam? So do you have something like that when you were young? And especially, let's say when you were in middle school or early years in high school, do you already envision that you would be going to MIT or going to any other schools? So is the current choice your number one choice?
No, of course not. I didn't
No?
envision myself like going to Vanderbilt and you know, taking a double major in like music and computer science. I didn't think about that when I was in middle school or high school. I was a very like I'll just think about it next year. Like I'll just think a year at a time. I had that kind of mindset. So I really didn't think about that. But I knew I loved playing violin. And even if I wasn't going to pursue it as a career, I at least was going to keep it as a hobby. So I had like at least one certainty, you know?
Okay. Okay, what about Carol? Is MIT your ultimate goal all the years long?
No, I definitely did not think about college at all in middle school. And I really only started researching like towards the end of junior year, I think. So, but I
Okay.
liked MIT when I visited for Math Prize for Girls, the competition there. So I went on a tour there while I was there.
Mm. Well, actually, talk about math. Actually, I just had a discussion with one of my friends this afternoon. So, well, Carol, did you start your elementary years in the US or you start in
Yeah.
China? Oh, in US, totally. Okay. Do you have a chance to talk? I mean, you meet any classmates who's from mainland China? Do you have such kind of experience?
Really?
No, really. Yeah, because this afternoon we were talking about the mathematic education in China and in North America, or in the US particular. We would just find that it's so interesting actually. Among many college math majors, you will find that actually Chinese students were really doing good in many ways, but the top student is always someone is local. And it's just weird in that way. So because we always know like Chinese is very strong in math, but how come those top students, I mean, in those math courses still happen to be a American? So do you have any ideas about that? I know this is a bit difficult. Yes, it's fine if you just say, oh, I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't really know.
You don't really know?
Sorry.
What about Adam? Do you have any ideas about that?
Can you repeat the question, please?
I mean, well, it's fine, but I know your part is really the music part. Yeah, because it's about the math. Yeah, it's about math. So sometimes we find that in many of the math class in university, the top students are still mostly the Americans. Well, Chinese were known to be very strong in math, but in general in the classroom, actually they are more like in the middle range. They're still good, but not really the top. So we are trying to figure out how that.
It's probably because the people in like the higher classes just genuinely enjoy doing it more, and so they would be willing to practice it more. If you don't like doing it, you can't force yourself to do it, and so it would make sense. The higher you go, the more passionate they are about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, so how did you prepare for your application along those maybe probably junior or senior years? What are the schools you applied, and how did you make the decision, like which school to go? Have you going through certain like conflicts, struggles? I should go for this one, not the other one. So do you have any things like that?
For me, I like started researching colleges towards the end of junior year, and then we actually went on a trip together to like the Northeast where we toured a few colleges, and I decided to apply early to MIT because I liked it there the most, and also it didn't restrict you on like if you could apply to other schools early as well. Like some schools say you can only apply here early and nowhere else. And yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you're the math girl. I can see that. Okay. Yeah, how about Adam?
For me, it was pretty easy. Vanderbilt was my early decision choice, and I got in. So it was pretty one and done deal for me. But I applied to Vanderbilt because when I visited, I liked the natural environment, and I liked the fact that there weren't too many people, but there were still enough people to be described as like a medium population size, which is good for me. And also the financial decision. Vanderbilt is very generous on merit scholarships, especially for national merit scholars. They give like a $5,000 scholarship. So really, yeah, it's pretty easy for me.
Okay. Okay, so that's my last question. I hope I did not give you too much hard time. Okay, so let's see all our audience and what the question they have here. Okay, let's see. Okay, so there's a, do you read Chinese? No, okay, so let me just do this one for you. So, okay, number one question, how did you improve your writing skills? That's the number one question. Number two, and how do you deal with, okay, how do you do that question? So do you feel like as a minority in the US school, right? Because we're Asian or Chinese. So do you have any specific problems in learning in your social life? And then how are you dealing with it? Yeah, so maybe let's start with the first question. How do you improve your writing skills?
Just try writing more.
That sounds so easy.
Yeah, forcing yourself to write, maybe like, if not every day, like 3 times a week, is helpful. Even if you're just writing a journal, just forcing yourself to write in English. Also, you have to remember you can always ask your teacher for help, extra, like I said, extra help sessions, or schedule an after school appointment or something like that. Your teachers can be like a big help, and if you're still struggling, then you can contact tutors, or like hire like a service that helps you with that kind of stuff. So I'd say there are a lot of resources, you just have to look for them.
Adam, do you have anything in particular for yourself, like you feel like this really worked for me, something, certain practice or certain writing?
I would just, like, again, I would say keeping a journal. I keep a journal, I have a diary.
Oh, okay.
And just writing more.
Okay, yeah, just keep writing, right? Yeah, okay. So Carol, do you have anything to share about writing part?
I think a lot of it is cumulative, but I also think that reading books can help you like get better vocab and also like define your style of writing more. And my 9th grade English teacher was also really helpful for me personally because she was just a really good writer, and I'd read her writing and try to like make my writing kind of mimic hers.
Yeah, actually I think, yeah, Carol mentioned 2 very important points. Number 1 is really reading. Reading helps. So you read a lot more, right? Just different type of text, different genres, and different authors, from different times. So that really helps with your writing. And also, yeah, talk to the teacher, as Adam mentioned. Yeah, so you learn from your teacher as well. Yeah, okay, so that's about writing. So next one is about, yeah, as a minority in your school, on campus, do you feel any challenge in your learning, your social and networking, and how are you dealing with it?
Okay, so for our school, we being an Asian wasn't really a minority. It didn't feel like a minority because like the people who are like academically inclined hang out with people who are academically inclined. So I mean, I didn't really feel like I had a problem in my social life just because I hung out with people who did the same things I did, so I had things to talk about with them, and that I just liked hanging out with, and like I didn't put myself in like an uncomfortable situation. So just know who you are and know what you like to do, so you can find people who also do.
Yeah. Okay. How about Carol? Do you have similar feelings?
Yeah, I think most people at school just like spend more time with people who like have the same interests as them. And we also just grew up here and with these people, so it's kind of like there wasn't any challenges really.
Well, actually, I remember Adam said something earlier. You were saying like to meet friends and you're afraid of them, and they are also scared to you as well. So it's like vice versa.
Yeah.
So I think to answer this question is, well, probably Asian is a minority in certain ways, but if you don't feel that way, then you reach out to people and make friends, and they also be curious about you and they want to make friends with you at the same time. So it's about reaching out and yeah, hanging out with them. Yeah. So hopefully, I think also in Canada is also a very like a melting pot, so to speak, kind of place. You have so many Indians and Chinese, all kinds of people here. So yeah, just be open. Okay. Yeah. So let's move on to the next question. Can you guys talk about time management? How did you manage multitasking, right? Academic, non-academic. Could you describe a typical day of your high school life?
I mean, I kind of already talked about it with my, my way to deal with procrastination, forming better habits. What I can talk about how I transitioned into having like a schedule, because it's not, you think it would just be about like forcing yourself to do it, but there are actually like cues to your kind of habits. And so if you, like, let's say my habit was like, watching YouTube like an hour or 2 hours on the time when I'm like laying on the couch, right? Well, if you just, your cue is like laying on the couch, if you just stop laying on the couch, like just avoid it entirely, then the habit never happens, and then you can focus on doing other stuff. I would also say, like, having your own table or having your own room, like a good environment, where you just this is dedicated for work, I think is very important. It's very important to, if you're gonna play, and you should play to balance and relax, right? You should keep it in another room or another space and have work separate than play. Otherwise, you'll just get mixed up and get distracted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically you should have like a station. So this is your workstation that's only for work study. And then maybe you have a basement that's just for playing Xbox or other games. So yeah, good. Yeah, having that environment, have all these like things around you to let you feel that this is time for study and focus on that. Okay, yeah. Carol, do you have anything to share?
I think you should just like not leave things until last minute to do it. And also for me, I just really like math and I really like music, so I just made sure I had time for those along with school stuff.
Mm-hmm. So basically, you're saying like you should have like a prioritize. So math is your thing, music is your passion, so that's always on your list, that's always on the priority list, that's on top, right? So yeah. So basically, I think to add on to that, I think there's a very world famous book about like the 7 habits thing. So that really applies for work, for study. Really need to prioritize, look at what is urgent and what is important and urgent, important, not urgent, that kind of stuff. The 4 the 4 areas, right? So that's something I think we can also learn from that book. Okay, next question. And could you describe a typical day of your high school life?
Well, I'd wake up, hopefully early, and I'd go to school. I'd pay attention in class. I'd go through the day. When I get home, sometimes I would take a nap, but I would advise against it. I'd say it's a bad habit. Just try to sleep earlier. But I would take a nap, and I would wake up, dinner, get that out of the way, and then do homework / practice violin.
Yeah, I'd wake up, eat breakfast, go to school, and then when I get home, I'd like, I don't know, I think I'd eat a snack or something, and then like half an hour later, I'd do my homework, most of it, and then eat dinner, and then practice piano, violin, and then do the rest of my homework, and then go to sleep.
Okay. Yeah, but I think my audience probably want more of that. So okay, basically your day is, well, study, sleep, and then maybe dinner, breakfast, lunch. So what about your study? So how you manage all your different subjects and different social activities as well, right? So you probably have your club, you have your other after school studies programs. So how you are arranging those kind of stuff?
Okay. I think like knowing what you have when, like knowing your schedule is pretty like helpful. Mm-hmm. So you know what you have to do before a certain day. Mm-hmm. And like I always have math after school on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and then I have violin on Fridays, and then orchestra on Mondays. So then I try to like not leave a lot of work on those days so I can like have time to do math or violin.
Okay, so math is always there. Like you said, it's always on the list. So this has always been you for the last, what, like 12 years? It's always like that? So math is always the thing, always on the list.
Maybe not the last 12 years, but like a while.
Oh, okay. Yeah, how about Adam?
Yeah, like I would say, like Carol said, for me, if I had a rehearsal coming up for like a musical or like symphony, I would, you would want to do your homework before that day. So like that day you don't have to worry about it while you're at the rehearsal. Obviously you do the homework that's due the soonest. the earliest, right?
Mhm.
You don't want to procrastinate that. I mean, it's due tomorrow. And studying, I would say, just dedicate more time and underline, annotate, write down notes, ask your teacher, go to extra help sessions.
Yeah.
It's just a process that you like. Once you have it, you have it, and then you don't think about it anymore, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, Adam also mentioned at the very beginning is that the freshman year is really the time you start to build your habit, build your way, so your time and your schedule. So that, yeah, Adam also mentioned that earlier, right? Yeah, building the habit. Yeah, okay, good. So next question is, what was the most memorable part of your high school years? I would say probably you have a lot of things. Yeah, maybe just one, number one, the top thing, the number one thing.
I might be stealing
It's hard.
Carol, but I was there for when we won the National Method Data Championship.
Mhm.
I was like part of that team, so it was we were at the ceremony and we weren't sure if we were gonna win, and then they announced second place, which was like our rival school, and we haven't beat them in like 14 years, and so we had like a huge celebration, and that was really fun.
Mm. Yeah, that is. How about Carol? I think something to do with math.
Yeah, probably. I think what Adam said was definitely one of the top moments of high school. And also probably just like talking to people and becoming friends with a lot of like seniors when I was a junior.
Okay. Okay. Let's see the next question. Okay. So next question is it's from a father from China. How? Okay, so my child lives in China now and plans to study overseas from grade 10. Even she works hard in English, could it have a big language gap or other challenges? So do you have like classmates, friends who came to US grade 9, grade 10? Do you have experience with those students in the States? Or maybe you can give some advice, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to some international kids.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I've definitely hosted some international kids.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it's hard to get over the language barrier, especially if this is your first time, you don't know anyone here. I guess just try not to be afraid, and again, reach out to your teachers because they're always willing to help. And just talk to your parents when you feel stressed about that kind of stuff, and they'll help you. They're always there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Carol, do you have anything to add on to that?
I think probably the language issue is probably like they probably wouldn't have a easy time in like our English classes, but I think like talking to other people, that's like fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next question. That's from Eric. How did you handle that? What you choose your schools or majors were different with your parents? Oh yeah, that's an interesting one. Do you feel like a pressure from your parents? Is it aligned with whatever you have in mind? Or maybe it's different, and how are you dealing with that kind of pressure?
Motivation. Well, I mean, you can make like relaxing and like playing video games your motivation, and just like so you can like get things done earlier, and so you can just like have the day off. In terms of motivation, I mean, as long as you enjoy your schoolwork, this is where like choosing your courses can be difficult, or like not choosing your courses could be difficult. I know I have the freedom in college to do this. High school, you might not have as much of the luxury. Just try to think choose things that interests you, and so that you're not as bored, you know, studying for it, and so your motivation is higher to like do well.
Okay. Carol, you have anything to add?
I don't think it was really like a problem because like my parents were just okay with what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like, well, not a problem for me.
Yeah.
The whole family's aligned, so yeah, that's not a problem. Okay. Okay, next one is from, yeah, Brian. Okay, you work hard professionally.
Nah, it's probably a joke, yeah.
Yeah, so MBA. Okay. Okay, so I think, did I miss any question? I think that's all right.
Yeah, I think you got it all.
Yeah, okay. So do any of you have any questions? Yeah, so Adam and Carol, both of you have been very helpful and answered quite a lot of questions. Yeah. Okay, so if there's no more questions, I would just like to thank you, Adam, thank you, Carol, for taking your time to share with your experience with all our audience here today. And I know some of the questions can be tough. It's like, oh, I never thought of that problem. I never had that problem. But at least your experience and how you prepare for the university, that really helped many of our audience here. Thank you so much, and wish you all good luck in the university. And yeah, like Brian said, well, see you in MBA. Okay, so thank you for coming. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Carol. And thank you for everybody joining us today. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.